Yeah, in terms of this idea that we should go right from where we are now to wind and solar, let me just say a couple of things. We talked already a little bit about the wind, and the problem basically with both wind and solar are that they take a huge amount of land, and there are going to be, if we go that direction, there are going to be risks and undesirable aspects that we don't fully appreciate now, and they may very well outweigh, in fact I think they will outweigh the undesirable aspects of things like natural gas, which has very few undesirable aspects in my opinion. For example, the wind, replacing the Marcellus with wind would require the same area covered in turbines completely from New York State down through Pennsylvania into West Virginia, spaced 200 meters apart in rows 400 meters apart, everywhere. And that would be challenging to build those turbines. The wind is not perfect in this area to do it. It would be probably better done somewhere else. But it's a very large area of land. It requires a large amount of infrastructure. It requires a lot of raw materials that we don't necessarily have access to in the quantities that would be required, such as the rare earth elements for the generators, etc. Solar is similar. Solar, for the kinds of power we're talking about, if we talk just about Europe, for example, Europe would require an area about twice the size of Poland. Poland is conveniently scaled. It's about 500 by 500 kilometers, but you'd need an area about twice the size of Poland, in their case, in somebody else's desert. So put it in Africa somewhere and cover an area twice the size of Poland with solar panels and have an electrical connection to Europe, and then have somebody tend those panels, that twice the size of Poland, in a desert area. Wash the panels when needed, tend them, fix them if you have storms, so on and so forth. Who is going to want to live in the desert tending solar panels in the way that's necessary to provide that as solar energy for Europe? I think there are issues with regard to solar when you put it on the scale that we're talking about. There are also risks. We have hurricanes, we have severe storms, we have tornadoes, we have dust storms in the desert, so on and so forth. These natural hazards may be relatively infrequent, but suppose that your solar panels in Poland were destroyed by a major storm in the deserts of Africa, and your job was to hold your breath in terms of your entire industrial output until you could fix those panels, months or perhaps even years later. You have to consider some of these risks, and I think as we get into these alternatives in a serious way, we're going to begin to perceive that there are not all benefits, that there are some real negatives, and they may be much worse than the natural gas.